champ right there. That's my champ right there.
3 hours later.
Imagine this, just hours before the biggest fight of your life, you're hosting a party. Not a private dinner, not a team meeting, an actual party. 70 people, music blaring, strangers in your house, and you're the main event at Wembley Stadium in a unification bout against one of the biggest boxers alive. That's exactly what Daniel Dubois did, and what followed was a 5th round knockout loss to Alexander Usyk, and this has the boxing world asking, was Dubois ever truly prepared? 2 years after their first controversial bout, Daniel Dubois and Alexander Usyk met again, this time under the bright lights of Wembley. Their first clash saw Dubois go down amid a debate over a supposed low blow that many argued was a legitimate body shot. It ended with Usyk still unbeaten and Dubois claiming he was robbed. Fast forward to now, a rematch was booked with much higher stakes. Usyk walked in as the unified WBA, WBO and WBC heavyweight champion. Dubois held the IBF title. This was it, the fight to settle the score and crown the undisputed heavyweight king. But while Usyk was locked in, laser focused on camp and tactics, Dubois' pre-fight routine told a different story. So on fight day, just hours before his walkout, Daniel Dubois was not at a hotel, not at a gym, not resting or meditating. He was at his father's mansion in Essex hosting a send-off party. Reports confirmed that there were over 70 guests in attendance.
This is what I've heard, and I wonder what your reaction to it was. There was a party at Daniel Dubois' house, ordered by his father, with about 70 people at the house.
The day of?
The day of. The afternoon of. The afternoon
was
of.
Daniel there?
Yes.
Some of them total strangers to Dubois' camp, and this is very obvious in his body language when you watch the clip of the party.
The people that were there were not known to Daniel, to such a point that Daniel actually asked his father if he could go out for a drive because he didn't know anybody there.
That is insane.
The music was loud, people were talking, pictures being taken, people chanting. Dubois was smiling, but not in a locked-in way, not in a I'm ready for war way. More like someone caught in the middle of a graduation barbecue and surrounded by a bunch of people he didn't recognize. Even Joseph Parker weighed in on this, talking about how it was just insanely disruptive and how shocked he was.
That is a different story altogether. That is insanely disruptive. Wow.
I mean, we're talking about fighters being regimental on the day and superstitious on the day, and some fighters want to wear a ring in their laces and all that sort of stuff, and it all has to be on point.
Now, the chaos didn't stop at the mansion, and this is pretty ironic because Dubois said he was going to cause chaos during the fight, and that's how he was going to defeat Usyk.
You could say that, but I don't want to even put it down to just him being an old man. I've got to prove myself and, bring chaos in the ring. What I bring and the force I have, that will be what's needed, really.
But that's not what happened. The chaos was before the fight. Dubois arrived at Wembley at about 8:20 p.m., just 90 minutes before he was scheduled to make his ring walk. That's extremely late by any standard in the professional boxing. Stan Dubois, who's Daniel Dubois' father and longtime mentor, reportedly requested extra transport for their entourage, which slowed everything down. But it gets worse. Stan drove Dubois himself in a vehicle that wasn't authorized for entry at Wembley. As a result, the security denied them access, and that meant Dubois and his father had to walk on foot to the stadium entrance on fight night in front of fans with media watching, and then Stan's large entourage wasn't allowed inside. He allegedly told the officials that the fight would not happen unless every single one of the members of their entourage would get in there, and that's over 50 people.
The entourage, this party that Daniel doesn't seem to know anybody of, were all coming to the fight, but they weren't allowed in the arena. And so on the way in, they're being asked by security as to the reasons why they come in, and Daniel is being stopped and told, I think his father told security that unless you let these guys in, he's not fighting.
Oh, that is sorry.
How
that,
disruptive.
That is a different story altogether. That is insanely disruptive.
Yep, nearly 50 seats were saved just for stance people. By the time Dubois entered the dressing room, warm-ups were rushed, the atmosphere was pretty shaky, and when the bell rang, that was just the beginning of the end. Usyk did what he always does. He weathered the early energy, let Dubois move forward, test his range, then slowly and almost surgically turned up the pace. A hard right, blistering left, and then boom, Usyk sent Ivan, who is his knockout nickname. Dubois dropped like a brick and the fight was waved off in round 5. And Usyk, he was calm, collected, untouched. Now 24-0 with wins over Tyson Fury, Anthony Joshua, and Dubois, Alexander Usyk became the 3-time undisputed champion between 2 weight classes, one of the greatest to ever do it, honestly speaking. But after the knockout, fans weren't just talking about Usyk's dominance, they were also asking a hard question. Did Dubois even come to win? Veteran heavyweight Derek Chisora said what many people were thinking, and he pretty much talked about how Dubois pretty much quit, plain and simple.
First 2 shots in the fight hit Daniel on the chin, and then that's when Daniel just quit. He could not gather himself. He didn't throw the double jab. He didn't go. He didn't actually say no one.
He didn't step into it.
He didn't bite his gumshoe and say no. I'm just gonna go for it.
Yeah.
When you say the first 2 shots in the fight, they went to the chin, then he quit, what do you mean by that?
I mean, like, he just folded, he just quit. I mean, like, in a way, not quit like walking out the ring. Quit off like, you know what? I'm just gonna try and survive.
People weren't just disappointed by the loss, they were shocked by how poorly managed Dubois' fight day appeared to be. Even his former trainer, Lawrence Okoli, weighed in as well.
I'm surprised, only because of what I know of Dan. Me and him are not the closest of friends, but I kind of see it as that's not. It doesn't match his personality. He's not like a extremely sociable person. I mean, not that he's a bad guy, but he's not sociable like that. And on a day, on a fight so important, you want everything to be tuned into the fight. But they said it worked for them in the fight before. You know, unfortunately, when you do lose, it opens up whatever you've done to criticism. So when you do it and you're winning, no one can say anything. You do it and you lose, we've got to look into it. So that's all.
Now, just to add more context to this whole situation and Daniel Dubois' mindset, you got to take in note that Daniel Dubois started training because of his dad since he was about 6 years old, and he was also homeschooled. And no offense to the people who homeschool their children and those who are homeschooled, but it's obvious the effects of that plays in Dubois' awkward social interactions. And mind you, he still lives with his family as a 27-year-old man, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it's obvious his father still has a complete control over him and his career. It wasn't him who threw that party, it was actually his father, which makes sense because a lot of people who were around him were just unfamiliar faces to him. So this party was pretty much his father vicariously living his life through Dubois. Now, this is what Dave Allen had to say about the state of Dubois' corner during the fight.
Daniel was beat maybe a minute in. He got hit with 3 or 4 jabs. He was made to miss. At the end of round 1, I believe Daniel's dad was in shouting double jab right hand, taking over the corner. Don Charles is the trainer. Right. That's Daniel's dad. They've got a great relationship. There's one coach. If I was with Jamie Moore for 10 weeks and my old man came here and started giving me instructions, he'd be told where to go by me and Jamie. It's ridiculous.
There were 25 lads in that corner.
He's a great coach, Don Charles. Daniel Dubois' father should not be given any instruction. He's not a boxing coach. Whatever relationship they've got, fantastic.
So the main question is, did the party actually cause the loss? We'll never know for sure, but in a sport like boxing, where timing, focus, and discipline are everything, the margins are razor thin. And when you're up against a generational talent like Alexander Usyk, distractions aren't just risky, they're absolutely fatal. Dubois has heart, no doubt. He's improved, but after this bizarre fight night debacle, fans are wondering whether changes need to happen outside the ring before we see him take another run at heavyweight gold. And don't get it twisted, I'm not saying anything would have changed if he didn't do this crazy, bizarre tactic before fighting Usyk, I think Usyk would have still won, probably still knocked him out. But you cannot deny that this was the wrongest move and pretty much a really stupid decision to make. Now, Dubois' coach tried to downplay the whole narrative of him partying before his fight and stated he was pretty hurt by Chisora's comments.
I've never denounced Derek Chisora publicly. I'm saddened. It's okay when strangers who don't know me, I don't know them, are criticizing my current charge. But when somebody who's my firstborn in boxing, somebody who gave me the entrance to the boxing business as we know it, that's actually the one that hurts me. I'm a human being after all. When I hear that, it's sad. And I'm gonna go further. This is what's destroying the black race worldwide. The same behavior, the same mentality.
Now, not every single person is attacking Dubois and criticizing his decision. This is what Tyson Fury had to say about the situation.
Right guys, quick one. I keep getting asked about this Dubois situation and all this quitting stuff and whatever else. Here's the facts. The facts are, young Daniel did his best against one of the greatest champions that's ever been, and it wasn't good enough. He come up short. He got put down twice. What do you want him to do? Die in the ring? There's no first place for getting battered to fucking still losing. The lad did his best. He wasn't going to win the fight. He's better off getting out of there. There's a lot of jealousy in boxing, especially when an individual's making a lot of money. A lot of jealous fighters slagging someone off who did his best and had the guts to get in there. There is no cowards in boxing. When you're in that ring fighting world heavyweight champions, there is no cowards. So all the credit deserves to Daniel. He worked his bollocks off from being 8-year-old and fucking won the world title and fought fucking Usyk for the undisputed. Video went off and fought Usyk for the undisputed, and now he's sitting at home, multi-millionaire at 27, do what the fuck he wants. Daniel, if you ever get to see this, chin up, son. Your dad's proud of you, everybody's proud of you. You've come from a kid to a man to be the world heavyweight champion and box at Wembley and in front of 100,000 people. You can't beat that kid. And if you ever want to do any training with a fucking real straight man, come yourself to Morecambe anytime you want, kid. Because there's no jealousy here and there's no fucking people putting others down who do the best. I call them dream crushers and jealous bastards. Exactly, that's what yous are. A lot of the dirty, jealous wankers. Get up, Daniel Dubois.
Now, as for Usyk, he says he's just getting started. And if that's true, the rest of the division better not be partying. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. What do you guys think about this situation? Do you think this actually affected the fight? Or do you think it really didn't matter and it would have just gone the same way? And also, let me know what you think about Daniel Dubois' relationship with his dad. Do you think he should cut him out from his camp and focus on being professional with the actual experienced boxers? Or do you think this is just a one-off and it shouldn't really happen again? Don't forget to like this video if you like the video and subscribe to the channel if you're new. I'll see you guys later.